Hello and welcome. This is the first interview with myself, Brett Baker, and Richard Marshall, who's an Alliance artist, which is under the Dennis Wick brand. Really good to see you, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Brett. Yourself?
Very, very good. And thank you
Good.
very much for your time to do this quick interview. And the idea is that there's a lot of people around the world, in the States and also in Australia, New Zealand, that perhaps would find this of interest and talking to you about a little bit about the Alliance brand and how that all fits into Dennis Wick. But first, I thought it would be good just to talk a little bit about where you are in the world and where you live and why you live there.
Well, I'm a Yorkshire lad, so I'm from South Yorkshire, which is probably in England, the north of England. It's probably about 70 miles east of Manchester. I live in a town called Doncaster. I've always lived in the town of Doncaster all through my life. I used to live in a little village called Carcroft and a village called Asken. Now I live in a village with my wife and my two girls in a little village called Skello. It's probably around about 45 to 50-minute drive to Queensbury, where Black Dyke's based.
Excellent. And that I'm sure that'll put things in context now in terms of where that is in the world. Um, and so maybe you can talk a little bit about how you started playing a brass instrument and how that came about. Was that through your father, or was it through just the fact that you were playing in the local community bands?
It was definitely through my father. My dad, Brian, was a really fine flugelhorn player. And he was a flugelhorn player with the former Brodsworth Colliery Band, which again is a Doncaster-based band. And that band was conducted by a gentleman called Ken Johnson. Now, Ken Johnson was my teacher. And I first really kind of started hearing brass bands through old LPs that my dad used to have, and of old Black Dyke recordings and things. And he used to then play with a band called the Hatfield Colliery Band. And he used to go along with my dad. And I used to love the sound of a brass band, and I still do to this day. I think there's nothing finer when a band's on its full glory. It's absolutely wonderful. The Hatfield band at the time was conducted by Ken Johnson, who again, as I said, was my teacher. And he used to go down with my dad. And I remember my dad one day saying, Would you like to try my flugel? I said, yeah, I'd love to. I really took to it, flugelhorn, really loved it. So I started playing on the flugelhorn, my dad's flugelhorn. He used to write the C scale on my little chalkboard I used to have in the bedroom. Learned my C scale and could play that within a week. And then, we decided to get me a cornet from band. And so this is 1985 now. So it's quite a few years ago. And that's it. I've never looked back. I've just always loved playing the cornet. And just loved listening to cornet players. I think from a very early age, I was brought up by listening to, the recordings of like Jim Shepard and Philip McCann, to name two of my cornet heroes, and just always loved it. So I suppose that's where it comes from, but definitely through my father. And I must say as well, my mum being a good taxi driver as well, taking me to all the solo contests and band rehearsals and everything was great, and then going into my family now, Becca, my wife's a cornet player, used to play at Black Dyke with us, Brett. And my daughter Bella plays cornet now. And my youngest daughter, Esme, is a drummer. So she's the musician in the family.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Well,
Yeah.
I can remember myself playing up at Wigan at the British Open Slow Melody Championships, and I can remember you going and playing in the 16 and under and
Yeah.
winning that competition. I think that's the first time I heard you play, was at that. So yeah, I mean it's a long time ago now.
It is a long time ago. Good old Wigan Pier, I think it was, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
then
right.
it
I don't
moved
even know
around a
if
bit
it's
then, but
there. Yes, it ended
yeah,
up in Salford, and I think it ended up in the end in sort of the Oldham area. I think it went there
that's
for a
right.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, good times.
Yes, exactly. You've pretty much answered one of my questions, which what is it that you love about playing the cornet? So I don't think we need to answer that one because you've
Yeah.
said that. But how would you describe yourself in terms of as a musician? Would you say that you're a player foremost, or would you say that you're a teacher and player? How would you sort of describe yourself in the sort of music industry?
I'd definitely say I'm a teacher and a player. You know, um, if you look at my I suppose my job description, I'm a self-employed musician really. Obviously I devote a lot of time to my playing regarding practice wise, and obviously committed to Black Dyke, where I've been the principal cornet now for 17 and a half years, the longest serving, which is something I'm really, really proud of. So I do a lot of playing practice wise. I do a lot of teaching as well, obviously online, like we're talking today on Zoom or Skype or FaceTime, whatever it is. And I'm also a cornet professor at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester and the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire as well. So I do lots of teaching there, lots of private work, as I've said earlier. I do also teach up at a local youth band near to where I live in between Wetherby and Harrogate, which is just a little bit north of where I live. And that's the Chewett Youth Band. I teach there once a week, teach young members right from the junior band up to the senior youth band. So that's a great organisation, and I'm proud to be associated as a bit of a teacher there. So yeah, I definitely describe myself as a player and a teacher as well.
And I guess now you've also got your two daughters involved in Chewett as well, and enjoying that as well as the Yorkshire Youth Band.
Yeah, definitely. Esme is a part of Esme, my youngest daughter, who plays the drums, or sorry, percussion, I should say. But she plays in the intermediate band, which is actually conducted by Becca, my wife.
Right.
And then Bella, who is a member of the Yorkshire Youth Band along with Esme. Bella's also a member of the National Children's Brass Band of Great Britain. She did her first course just this summer, just gone. She just moved up into the senior youth band now. So it's all happening. And it's great to see youngsters just learning. It's great to see. I get a lot of pride out of, not just my own children learning, but any youngsters, because that's what the future is. I think it's brilliant.
Well, I suppose it's a good time to mention that another famous cornet player that we could mention, Tom Hutchinson, who is a Dennis Wick artist. You used to give Tom lessons when he was going through the college system.
That's right. Well, I actually started teaching Tom many, many years before college. I think I started teaching Tom when he was about 11 years old.
Right.
So I remember this little boy coming and having a lesson with me, and wow, what a player he is now. We're really, really close friends, and we've got a lot of respect for each other's playing, and he's setting the world afire as a player. He's fantastic. And we got him through college, and then obviously played with Black Dyke when I was there, and then obviously moved on to Corey, and he's been pretty successful there as well. So he's done really, really well. And but yeah, always proud of Tom. Always proud of all the other students I've had as well. Like yourself, Brett, you've seen many, many people, just set the world afire, and you think you've had a little part to do with that. Sometimes it's nice to sit back and listen to it. So I'm really, really passionate about that.
That gets me on to probably the next thing, which is you play on the Alliance brand mouthpiece, which is the RM model, the Richard Marshall Alliance mouthpiece. Do you want to tell the listeners and viewers why you play on that particular mouthpiece, what it is about that you enjoy?
Well, I think for a start, I really like the projection the mouthpiece gives and the comfort. They're the two main aspects for me. When I'm going back to my early years, when I was 9 years old and starting to play, the mouthpiece I grew up on was a Dennis Wick number 2. I always played on a Dennis Wick number 2. Still to this day, such a fantastic mouthpiece. I was approached by Alliance probably well over 10 years ago now, just to trial this mouthpiece, and it did exactly the same as what my Dennis Wick 2 did. Loved it, but I liked, going back to my initial comment, I really like the comfort and the projection of it, and I think the actual the way it's produced and manufactured through Dennis Wick is fantastic as well. And I'm happy to say that it's taken the world by storm. It's lots of cornet players are playing on the mouthpiece, and they really enjoy it. I've had some really good feedback. It's been actually awarded or been in categories of awards, some prizes as well, which I'm really proud of as well. But love it. Absolutely love the mouthpiece, and it's simple. It looks brilliant. Obviously, it can come in gold, silver, and it does the job perfect for me. And I think it just it enhances the way it looks from the mouthpiece going into the instrument as well. It looks the bee's knees as well. So yeah, I'm really proud of it, and long may it continue.
And they're made in different sizes as well, aren't they? So it's not just the one that you play on. I think there's a bigger one, or you can get one slightly smaller. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. What I really like about the Alliance brand is we do three different sizes. We do a size one, so an RM1, an RM2, or an RM3. We also do A cups with them as well. So it's either an RM1A, an RM2A, or an RM3A. And the A cups just give that little bit of help in the higher regions, for players that want to say have a really full, rich cornet sound. So they might decide to play maybe like an RM1 like I play, which is the biggest one. But then they think, well, my high register on it is probably not as sufficient. So we try a RM1A. Suddenly, the high range it's there for them, but it's keeping the traditional sound as well. I think that's one of the biggest things. It's the mouthpiece has never lost the traditional sound quality to its manufacture, which is fantastic as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Richard. And then finally, if you didn't play the cornet, what would you do?
Oh, I'm not really good at much else, but I suppose I'm still learning the cornet as well. But I suppose thinking about it, I mean, years ago, before I started playing cornet, I used to have a snooker table at home. So I used to love playing snooker and pool and things like that. I used to enjoy playing that. I like playing a bit of golf now, but not that Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods have got anything to worry about. But it's a tough question. I suppose maybe something sporty, I suppose I would do. But I've got to admit, since I started playing cornet, that's all I ever wanted to do. When I studied for it, had some great lessons and just loved it. And I'm pleased that it's now my profession and my job as well. It's, and my hobby as well, which is good.